JRS Auctions is gearing up for an exciting weekend with their Sunshine Sale from July 25th and running through the 28th. This auction promises a diverse array of remarkable items just waiting to be discovered. Among some of the standout pieces up for grabs are this 1931 Ford Roadster hot rod boasting a stunning flame paint job. And you know what? I've got to go as well with another one and show you the 1999 Plymouth Prowler that comes with its very own trailer. Beyond the traditional automotive treasures that you'll find at JRS Auctions, we have some one-of-a-kind finds, including a sauna, a wood sauna. That's right, it's up for auction. Mobile bathroom and shower unit, it's up for auction. How about traveling to the racetrack in your own RV? We've got one. There's a variety of the regular items that you'll see in the JRS auctions, including your cars, your trailers, your tools. You can find it all at JRS Auctions. Of course, this week, tons of Coca-Cola merchandise that you can fill in your bar, your garage, your fan zone. As a dedicated partner of the Stickers and Scuffs podcast, JRS Auctions is also dedicated to bringing you amazing racing action. Not just as a fan of this podcast, but of the Oscar Hot Rods, presenting them as title sponsor this year. JRS Auctions invites you to explore their impressive selection. So seize the opportunity to brighten your day by participating in their Sunshine Sale. Don't hesitate. Head over to jrsauctions.com to check out the full catalog of items, secure your registration, and start placing bids. You don't want to miss this. Ready to revamp your race team's look? Look no further than Epic Racewear. They're not just any ordinary merchandise supplier. They're the pit crew you need to take your team to the next level. Hats, pit shirts, tents, race suits, flags, gloves, marketing materials, bags, you name it, they have it. Dan Bailey and his talented crew at Epic Racewear will work tirelessly to provide you with an eye-catching design that will make your team stand out from the competition. Let's not forget about their unmatched creativity when it comes to making you look fresh and cool while promoting your partners. Epic Racewear is the real deal. Don't wait a second longer. Head over to epicracewear.ca today and start turning heads with your new and improved look. Trust us, you won't regret it. Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Stickers and Scuffs podcast. We'll say / Wide World of Motorsports for tonight.
Thanks.
It's a combination effort, Cam K with Wallace, Mike Wallace here tonight. Also, our resident APC expert in the house with Junior Farrelly, who's joining us. It's been a long time coming, Junior, but really excited to have you on the show tonight.
No, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Well, let's start right away, man. You didn't mess around this year. You went out and got career win number 1. Let's talk about that, because that was a great friggin' race, man. Probably the best. I've heard a lot of people say that it was the best APC race that they've ever seen.
Yeah, no, it was a good race for the fans for sure. It seems like an eternity ago now. So halfway through the season. So things have been an up and down season since that night, but looks like we're getting things turned around again at Flamborough, and excited to head back to Sauble, which is one of our stronger tracks. So 2 out of the last 4 at Sauble, and then 1 at Sunset. So looking to finish strong.
How did it happen?
Well, Shaw's got a good car there. They've been strong there for years. Dale's been close to winning a few, and I think he has won some. He's won 1 or 2 himself there. So everything kind of fell the right way that night, and fight for it, and it was a good battle with everybody. So it was exciting to get our first win.
Mike. Does everything come together on a night like that? Did everything have to be perfect, or was there some luck involved to get to that first place spot?
No, I think we had a contending car as good as anybody. I think, maybe Blair might have had the best car at the end. So he was just a corner away from clearing us and being gone probably, and just the way things worked out, we were able to. He kind of came down, and we were there, and kind of nudged our way back in, and that was a good clean battle. So, and then obviously, holding off Steckley, he's the guy to beat these days, and congratulations to him on the Redbud 400. That was awesome to see. Third Canadian in history to win that. So, yeah, it's great to compete with guys like that, and it's a lot of fun.
Did you think this year you were going to get that first win? Because you've been close before. So coming into this year, did you feel good? Obviously, you still have one of the best looking race cars out there. That thing is gorgeous.
Definitely. Yeah, no, thank you. We finished the year pretty good last year, so we had good confidence, and Shaw's did a lot of work. And off season, we stripped the car right down and helped them, and went through every single piece of the car. And I was excited to go to Sunset, and we tested well there. So it's you do it long enough, it's bound to come together one of these days. So yeah, it was nice to get that off our back.
How does Junior Farrelly end up with Dale Shaw's team in the ABC? Because I don't know that history there. So when did we find ourselves joining up with Dale?
So at the end of 2019, we were looking to do something different. We'd run APC full time for 3 years, and that's kind of when I was looking at the super modifieds out of Oswego. And then COVID happened, and we purchased the car during COVID. Obviously, couldn't race, couldn't get across the border. So then 2021, I was talking to them, and I know they'd been renting cars out, and we put a deal together to run a couple Sauble races, and then we did that for a few years between Sauble and Sunset. And then obviously last year we put a full season together once we obtained the sponsorship from PV Mart and Burn Workwear. So just kind of started small, and then evolved as we went along.
It sat on the wall with you at Delaware for round 4 and asked, what was going on, because you maybe weren't performing where you wanted to be. And you said to me, if I knew, I'd fix it, which I appreciate your candor. And you mentioned it, and I would agree. Flamborough, this past race, you seemed to be much quicker. You had much more pace. You were much more racy. I would say that track and the competition maybe didn't lead to the performance that you wanted. But you did perform really well through practice and qualifying, and even in the race. What were some of the things that maybe you figured out?
I think just collectively as a team, between the car setup, and we went down and practice, and we'd kind of found some setups for other tracks that might have been working at those particular tracks, but didn't apply well at others, and just kind of got off base a little bit, maybe just. And it doesn't take much at all, right? You're talking a tenth, and that's the difference between starting third and starting, 15th sometimes. So,
yes,
just nobody's fault. I take as much of the blame as anybody, and just we weren't clicking, and we had to kind of regroup. So things are looking good, and like I said, I'm excited to get back to Sauble and then Sunset, and then Dale went to test for us at Delaware, and he was quick. He was probably on his way to winning that heat when that happened. So yeah, just I think we'll do well at the end of the year.
When you see something like that happen, and I think the majority of people that did see it, it was pure shock, obviously. But at the same time, you're going to go and strap in and race the following day. So what comes through your mind when you see something like that? And if you were Dale, How much would you need to be held back after something like that?
I think that's to each individual, right? He's got a little girl at home and I got a little dog. So it kind of depends where you are in life. And I think that puts things into perspective for you. So, he's going to come back when he's ready. And, I've been talking to him a bit and, with those guys, I wouldn't be surprised if they came out this weekend, even they got the fire to race and they don't have any quit in them. But at the same time, I think it helped put things in perspective for him. So it was a tough deal for everybody.
Tough deal for sure. But again, when we talk about the racing scene, especially with the United Racing Series, I mean, there was a lot of question marks about this season, but the competition level has not gone away. In fact, it seems like it's ramped up just as much as it was last year. I want to know, Junior Farrelly's got a lot of competition in this series. Who are some names that maybe haven't gotten to that top step yet, but they're right there and they're on the cusp of becoming the next big pro late racer in Ontario?
That's a tough question.
We don't mess around here, but Junior, we got good questions for you.
No, I think everybody's right from. I don't think there's a slouch in the field really. Like everybody's capable of winning. You got guys like Tyler D'Avenzo. He's just around the corner. He's showing great speed at every track. He's been good. Blair's had the breakout season. We all knew what he was capable of, and he's certainly putting it all together. And it kind of changes how you race those guys. Like we were running around Blair this weekend, and he's 2 points out of the lead. So last thing you want to do is get too aggressive and overdo it too early on, and then kind of think about that stuff a bit because you don't want to screw those guys up, but especially that early in the race. I mean, there's lots of you kind of put me on the spot, but there's lots of good talent out there all the way through.
It's got to be refreshing, right? Constantly seeing people come in and do this game, and for Michael as well. Like Mike's been a big part of this season with the APC series. If you didn't know already, good buddy Michael Wallace, part of the APC series. See him rocking that shirt every race, but definitely it's got to be cool to see the talent level of pro late racing in Ontario. I stack it up with, say, something that we just had this past weekend that we had a representative at, a couple reps at the IWK 250. Is Junior Farrelly ever interested in potentially going to be a part at Riverside International?
Yeah, events like that, IC 250, the Snowflake, it's really
the Snowflake. All right.
It's really exciting when you see the guys doing that. It all depends if it fits your budget and where you're at, right? So, you never say never to those events, but it'd be certainly cool to go out and attend and be a part of it for sure. Those guys, all three, four with Gary out there as well. They all represented Ontario and Canadian racers very well. So it was good to see them stack up and be competitive.
Can we talk a bit about your super modified? Because I know that's something that's really close to you. I've actually taken a little bit of an interest into it more, mainly because of you. And, can you talk a bit about the history of that and where you fit into that and a bit about your program?
Yeah. So, we've talked before. It's just something I've always been a fan of more than anything. We used to always go down there as a family and vacation, go to the Classic every year. And then, grew up watching, guys like Doug Didero and Donnie Ramage and there's lots of great Canadians. And then Mark Samet came along and go-karted with him. My sister go-karted with him. So we spent went to a lot of races and watching, and it was always something I dreamt of doing. And, just finally we're at a point where we could kind of get a car and had to just, everything's got to align, right? It's got to make sense. So we've been down there 3 times this year. The second time was really exciting. They've been making us start last just because we're a rookie. So we came from 19th to 10th in a 50 lapper. Then last time we went down there, we basically did 2 laps of practice, and then the car actually kicked out of gear on us, over revved it, and bent a bunch of exhaust valves. So not a very successful trip. So it can humble you really quick.
Right.
Didn't feel like we did anything different as far as locking the car in gear and checking everything, but for whatever reason, it did slip out. I got off it quick, so we didn't damage too much, but it's cost us 2 features that night because there was twin 40s, and then we missed this past Saturday. So next one we got coming up is August 17th. The motor's all back together. Just finished putting it in the car tonight with my buddy Wes Goddard. He helped a lot, doing the heads and getting everything back to where it needs to be. So excited and preparing for Classic, which is on Labor Day, and that's their 200 lapper. So that's kind of where we're aiming towards right now.
I'm loving what I hear, but I'm a little curious, Junior. Canadian racing, Ontario racing, traveling over to the US, different. Obviously, there's similarities, but is there a difference in the way that the racing is, maybe in just the structure of how race events are and how people conduct themselves on the racetrack? Is there a big difference, or is it very similar?
It's very similar. Just open wheel, and with the speeds they have at Oswego, the racing's very clean, right? You can't afford to, even touch wheels, or you're going to be, causing a lot of damage and, putting yourself at risk too. So that's, the speed's very exhilarating. That's something that, even now I've ran a few races and still getting acclimated to it a bit. It takes me a few laps to get going each time and get your nerves work back up to where it needs to be. But they run a very professional division down there. It's been running weekly racing. I'm not even sure. It's like back in the 50s. Like it's been going on forever. They run a really quick show. That's one thing. APC, you got a lot of time when you get there. I say that Dale's the one running around doing tires and doing a lot of the prep, but it seems like you got 2 hours at least anytime you roll through the gates. And at Oswego, you're practicing and set up and running your heat within 2 hours. So you have to have everything prepared and ready to go when you get there. So but, it's been really fun so far.
Is there plans to do anything further? You do Oswego, but I have a feeling, because you've raced, like we talked about way back at Motorama, you've raced pretty much anything under the sun. So what if anything, is there still interest in Junior Farrelly to potentially reach out and try?
I would race anything, any opportunities that come around. From a personal standpoint and owning a car, this is probably going to be it. This is kind of like something I would like to do for the next, 10 to 15 years. And, I still like to support the APC series as well. And we've got a good sponsorship program for the Ontario racing. And it's a little tougher to branch that and connect that into the US side of things. So it all depends on that and kind of where they want to go. And, if Dale's still going to be doing his program, just everything's got to align, right? So, but from a personal standpoint, I'm very excited to be running supers. Love to put a top wing on it once we get a little more track time and travel around to a few ISMA shows. That would be fun. But just being realistic about it right now, and no sense going to different tracks when, we got to get good at one first and get comfortable.
Well, and that's the biggest thing, right? We talk about that, and comfortability in any racing vehicle it's so important. I mean, we've seen it, Michael's seen it. We go to watch different divisions all the time. IndyCar, you watch Formula One, you watch really anything, and the comfortability is very important. And I'm wondering if going into something from APC and switching to any sort of different vehicle, whether that adjustment period, whether there should be limitations. And I make this and I pose this question to you based off of experience level for racers that come into higher levels. We've seen some mistakes in all forms, and I'm representing a series at the moment where we've seen some mistakes happen. And I'm curious, as a veteran racer yourself, if someone is showing inconsistencies, Do you want them out on that racetrack, or do you think that there needs to be some sort of a proving ground? Because at the end of the day, what we see is in NASCAR, for a perfect example, is this talks. Maybe not the most professional behavior on track, off track. What do you want in your fellow competitors as a racer out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as they're able to, prove they belong out there and they're not causing any trouble, I think it's, fair game for everybody. Most people are drive within their means. Some people overstep sometimes, and I still do to this day. Sometimes go make this. Like going to Oswego, having to start it back and being a rookie at, it's even the first race, you're getting, told to go down and the leaders are like a half a straightaway or straightaway behind you. You're like, they're worried though. They're worried about, because they don't know me. They don't know, what my car control is like or what I'm going to do when you get in a situation. So you got to respect the officiating and it's their call and their decision ultimately. And then over time, if you prove yourself, like, the next race we were top 10 and, then they can, but they're not going to know that until you go out and do it. Right. So, I have respect for the officiating, all officials, it's a thankless job.
Right? Say,
yeah. So it's, it's got to be a two-way street. The racer's got to be respectful, and then the officials got to give you some benefit of the doubt once in a while too, until you prove them wrong.
This guy's pretty good at answering questions, eh, Mike?
Yeah. Well, Junior, he's done this a few times. He gets a lot of appearances.
Yes,
he does a lot of
does.
appearances this year. Quickly, with we got a couple of final races coming up, 4 races left. We have 3 in the APC BCA NTM BCA bearings Triple Crown. That is a mouthful. I better get used to saying it. The first round is, of course, in a couple weeks at Sauble for the 150. What are you guys thinking with these longer lap races coming up? We have Sauble, then we have the 200 at Sunset, and then we have the big 300 at Delaware. How are we feeling about these races coming up?
I'm pretty excited about them. I like switching it up a bit. Being all at the end of the year, it might have been, I don't know if there's a preference, but maybe splitting them up and not having them all on a row would be a little better, but it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, everybody's running the same race, and the
Right.
200 last year added a bit of strategy at Delaware, and 300 gonna, there's gonna be fuel strategy, tire strategy. The tires have been holding up really well, so I'm not sure what the breaking point is, but it seems like you can drive as hard as you want for 100 laps, and they're still good at the end. So, but I think in the 150, 200 laps, you are going to have to conserve a little bit. So, hopefully, the experience and running some of the longer races before will help play out, and we'll be able to save our stuff for the end.
Are you running in I think the Hanley, is that this weekend? I think that's going to be a good little telling on how these tires are going to stack up for you guys. Are you running that?
No, I'd love to, but it just wasn't really in our original schedule this year. And
yeah, fair enough.
I do this race they've ran, so be able to. I know Samantha's running it this weekend, so she'll be able to give us some good feedback. She did an awesome job. Got third last year, and again, so be watching as a fan, but not as a competitor this time around.
It'd be a lot. I mean, Dale won in that 72 car last year, so you'd have to measure up to that. That's got to be cool, though, to see. I mean, obviously, as we talked about this, you being a Hanley fan, to see the Hanley car win the Hanley Classic. I mean, was there any doubt, really, that was going to happen? Like, talk about a Cinderella story in a way, but I mean, it was just magical seeing that happen.
Yeah, no, that was cool. Dale, I think Dale's as good as anybody there, and they got a really good program, like we've said, and he's really good at longer races. So I knew when we handed the reins over to him last year, he was, going to have a very good shot at it, and everything played out just the way we wanted. So, and then this year we were kind of able to redeem ourselves and get the win at the Sunset to, prove that we could run competitive in the car as well. So.
When did it amazing fashion with the 1, 2, 3 for Shaw Motorsports, which I mean, talk about like showing the field right away, like your strength. But one of the things that you've done over the last 2 years is you've brought a partnership into the APC series, in one of the most beautiful, both last year and this year, really. They haven't gone
Yeah.
wrong yet. Burn Workwear, PV Mart. How did this come together? And let's just talk about your amazing partnership and this amazing Ontario brand.
Yeah, no, it's been really fortunate to have be able to work with two great Canadian companies. Well, Burn is out of Ocean, Indiana. Then they branched into Canada the last 5-6 years. So they were looking to expand their market in through Ontario, and then PV was looking to grow their name from their store transformation from TSC. So
Yeah.
it just aligned very well, and kind of the let's workwear and the mentality of racers wanting to do their own work and get out there and get dirty and use their products and wear their clothing. So that's we've been very fortunate to be able to go to 10, 11 stores in the last 2 seasons. We have our final one coming up, the store visit right before the second Sauble race, August 24th on the Saturday in Owen Sound. So we actually have these coupons that we're handing out at all the stores this year. So it's 20% off all Burn Workwear products. Anybody wants any,
Nice.
they're good. They're good for the entire weekend, August 23rd through the 26th at all stores across Ontario. So hit me up, message me, see me at the track, and we'll make sure you guys get some and get you equipped in some Burn Workwear.
We need a 72% off. Come on.
That would be good, but I think I can swing that one.
Might be a little high, but that's and stick your face on it too. I think that'd be important. We got to get the brand and the looks out there for you. It's something that I think is really difficult. I mean, Michael and we've had this conversation a lot actually about how hard it is to find partnerships and to find partners, and you've found some. This isn't like a small thing. Like this is a full partnership that you're working on. You also have Onyx as well on the car this year. I believe is that a newer partnership for this year as well?
Yes, that was brand new this year, and they're a hose and tube manufacturer out of Guelph, so they're supporting both the late model, and they're big fans of Oswego. So they had sponsored
Awesome.
literally for the last couple seasons, and we were able to put a deal together for this year. So they've been great to work with. And then obviously your partners, you guys work with Dan and Bob at Epic, and been supporting us since it started about 10, 12 years ago.
So what would you say is the hardest thing? Or you know what? I'm gonna rephrase that, because you obviously have been able to find these partnerships. So what advice would you give to racers? Because I've had a couple of them reach out asking me, and I honestly don't know because I'm not a racer. So but what would you say, what advice would you give about how to approach somebody regarding a partnership?
You got to be able, I think the key word you said there is partnership. So it's not a handout, right? Everybody's, they're looking at ROI, they're looking at what you can do for them, what you can bring to the table. So it's not just about slapping their name on the car and going to the stores, right? It's about developing those relationships, trying to get people in the racing community supporting their brand. So nothing's more frustrating than seeing buddies at the track in Carhartt clothing, right? You want to slap a hoodie on them with Burn Workwear right away and steer them the right direction, right? I know Carhartt makes a good clothing brand, but we all got to do our part to try to support the partners that are supporting Ontario short track racing. So, like if all my gas, I go to Pioneer, right? I didn't always, but they're supporting Stoddy, so you get your gas at Pioneer. You're going to buy windows, right. You go through Dyson, get your windows, stuff like that. So making that conscious effort to try to support each other. I know sometimes you got to go out of your way even to try to do it, but we certainly appreciate the guys that have come up to me and they are wearing the Burn clothing and, they're trying to get the word out and support, and that means a lot. So, it's kind of tying it all in. It's not about you. It's about the companies that you're representing. So you got to be able to bring something for them.
Yeah, it plays a big part nowadays in racing. We see it across the board, these partnerships and sponsorships, and unfortunately we can't race anymore without them. And sometimes it actually makes the racing better, strengthens partnerships, it strengthens abilities and ideas and whatnot. What about the APC series in particular draws you into it? I mean, you can run late models. You could run late models on Friday nights at Delaware. You can run them at Sunset. You can run them anywhere. What about that series makes you as a racer want to go compete in it?
Just how competitive it is. Like you gotta, everybody out there is capable of winning if everything aligns for them, and there's not too many cars that are off. Cream always rises to the top. You got your top 5 guys that consistently are up there, but just that it's so hard, right? That's, being a competitive person, I'd rather scrap for 5th to 10th than go win against, 5 guys running, somewhere locally. It's just, I'd rather have that challenge. So, and hopefully we can, be in that group of 5. And I think we have the potential. We just kind of got off a little bit, and like I said, I think we'll finish strong. And I don't think there's a better product or series out there where you from top to bottom, everybody's got a strong program.
Yeah, I was going to say, the series, I might be a little biased, I'm not going to lie, but I've been thoroughly impressed this year, being able to watch all of you guys progress and get better. You always have your upsies and your sorry moments that happens in racing, but it's been incredible to watch all of you adjust to each other and adapt to each other. And you can see how you've developed even on track relationships with certain drivers, maybe drivers you are kind of rivalry, or it's actually really fun to watch you race Blair, because you're quite aggressive with him and he's quite aggressive back, but it's after the race, it's great. I have to say that the friendships there and the camaraderie in the series has to be the pull into it. I mean, I'm an outsider. I'm new this year. I'm behind the camera. I don't make a big to-do that I'm doing anything with it, because it's not about me. It's about all of you guys. But I do see this big family atmosphere there, even between the officials and the officials with you guys. And is that got to be part of the draw into the series as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody wants to do the best they can, but that's, you got to get along. If you got too many, you don't want to be like the Ross Chastain of the series and have everybody like he was a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have the targets on your back. So I think if you race respectfully, even the last race, me and Tyler, certainly anybody who watched, if you watched that lap, you knew what I was gonna do, and he wasn't even a part of the equation. He just snuck in there, and I didn't know he was there, right? So you kind of get it if you watch the whole lap there. But first thing we did was, me and Rob called each other that week, and it's squared away Monday afternoon. Awesome. Everything's good, and you move forward. If you try to talk about it at the track, it might not have went so well, because I was in the wrong on that one. But looking at the situation, they understood what I was trying to do in that particular case. So, but and at the end of the day, there's nobody's real enemies with each other. You're gonna have some instances where you get mad and run each other a little more aggressive, but everybody respects everybody.
There's one thing that we love to do here on this podcast, and that is give you a moment to shout out your partners and shout out those who help you week in and week out at the racetrack. And then because you're JR Farrelly, we have to hear your social media too, because you're always active on it. So let's hear those partners and anybody that's helped you out and your social media.
All right. So partners we've mentioned, obviously we have Burn Workwear and PV Mart as our primaries, Onyx Hose and Tube, Epic Racewear, and then we also have some support from Inside Track Motorsports News, their online website. From a crew standpoint, got to thank everybody at Shaw Motorsports, Jason, Dale, Randy, Samantha, everybody that's involved. And then we have our own crew. So I have Rick, leader. He's out in the shop, as mentioned. Even when I'm on nights, he's out here every night, just doing all the small stuff that takes the time. Mike Stroh, Alex Gordon, Austin Gordon, Tim Pavey, and Nick Wetzel has been helping out this year as well. So you can't do it without the help of the races and during the week. So wouldn't be possible without both the partners and the support from the crew. And then from all our social media channels, it's JR Farrelly Motorsports, and we're pretty active on Facebook and Instagram. And we do have a website, juniorfarleymotorsports.com as well. So that's kind of our outlets that we try to keep updated.
Well, Junior, it is always an honor to get to chat with you, and to have Stickers and Scuffs on the car this year is a huge honor, and getting to meet you at Motorama was a huge honor, and getting to see you race is a huge honor. So I guess we'll just say it's been an honor. Michael Wallace as well. Wide World of Motorsports, make sure you check them out. JR Farrelly, make sure you check them out. Stickers and Scuffs this week. Thank you so much for being on the show, Michael and Junior.
Yeah, thank you guys for everything that you do as well. It's much appreciated. You guys what makes it all happen and gets the name out and exposure for everybody in the series. So thank you very much.
Well, make sure you guys tune in for next week on Stickers and Scuffs. Cam K, see you next time.